And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a really simple recipe for you for a really delicious pecan pie. Now, we wanted something that didn't use syrup. We've seen a few recipes for pecan pie show up recently that don't use Karo syrup. So we went to Chef Caleb's family back in Texas and found this older recipe and cut the sugar down again so it really tastes like pecans, which is our first ingredient. So we have some pecans, we have some brown sugar, we have some eggs, a little bit of water, a very small amount of flour, some salt, some vanilla, some evaporated milk, and also a pie crust. So this is just our reliable pie crust. I'll put the link to that video in the description below, and there'll probably be a card around there as well. And we're going to start off by chopping up our pecans. Now, we're not going to chop all of them. We do want to leave a fair amount for the top, just for presentation. But we're going to chop about 1.5 cups. Now, that should be when they're finished. When we're finished chopping them, they should be about 1.5 cups. All the amounts are going to be in the description below. And once you've got your pecans chopped, we're just going to set those aside and roll out our pie crust. Once you've done that, you've got a pie plate lined with your crust. We're just going to put the chopped pecans in the bottom of the pie. Now, you don't need to blind bake this or anything like that. It's going to cook the crust at the same time as it cooks your filling. And then we're going to make our filling. So we're going to start with the brown sugar. We're going to mix the sugar with the dry ingredients, which is a little unusual. So the sugar, the salt, the flour, and the water are all going to go in together. We're basically going to make our own syrup, for lack of a better term. We're not going to cook it down or anything at this point, though. So we're just going to mix these together until they're well combined. And it's going to make a fairly thick mixture. It's not going to be a really watery mixture or anything like that. It's going to be kind of a sugar slurry. And you notice we're using a fork. We don't want to incorporate a whole lot of air, but this is a great opportunity to break up any big chunks or anything in there. After that, we're going to add our 2 eggs, one at a time, and we're going to completely incorporate each one before adding the next. So this is our second egg, in fact. And again, we're going to stick with the fork. We don't want to incorporate any more air than we have to. You can see we have incorporated some already, but we're trying to cut that down as much as we can. A whisk will make it a lot airier, which will make for a little strange texture on top. After the eggs, we're going to add in our evaporated milk. Now, it's not a whole can, unfortunately. It's going to leave you with some leftover evaporated milk, but lots of ways to use that. You can put it in chili con queso or anything like that. And then we're going to add our vanilla. And you do want to make sure, as you frequently have to with baking, you want to make sure you scrape down the sides of your mixing bowl here. And we're just going to stir all that together until it's well combined and smooth. You can see here it's really nice and smooth. You want to make sure there's no lumps or anything like that. Now, the evaporated milk has a couple little dollops in there that haven't completely incorporated. That's fine. We were hoping to avoid getting too many little bubbles on top, but I mean, it's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. It will change the texture on top a little bit, and you'll see that later. So from there, we're going to just pour that very gently over the pecans in our pie crust. Now, you can see it doesn't fully fill the crust, which is fine, because it is going to puff up quite a lot. It's actually going to souffle quite a bit, and we're going to see that when it comes out of the oven. But right now, we're just going to start with pouring that in, letting it settle, and then we're going to start decorating the top. And we're just going to decorate the whole top with pecan halves, because it's really looks amazing. And also really tastes good when those pecan halves get nice and toasty on top. So we're going to put that on a baking sheet, again, just in case anything spills over. You don't want it in your oven. Much easier to catch it in a baking sheet. And we're going to bake that. Times and temperatures are in the description below. They do change partway through, and you can see here it has puffed up a lot. It's a little bit jiggly in the middle, so this is basically a custard you can see here, and it is mostly set. It's a little jiggly in the middle. It has puffed up a lot. It's a big dome. Now that's going to settle back down to where it's, you can see it here. Please excuse the dyed fingers on Chef Caleb as he's pulling the Pulling a slice of the pie out. Do make sure that you cut all the way through the crust when you're making your cuts to serve the pie, because otherwise it just makes a big mess. And there you go. You can see it's holding together really well. The bottom crust cooked all the way through. There's big chunks of pecan all the way through. We served it with a nice big dollop of whipped cream on top, and it was delicious. Because we cut the sugar down so much, it really did taste like pecans. So not only does it not have any syrup in it, but we cut down the sugar that the recipe asked for by quite a bit, just because we don't have particularly sweet tooths, and we like we like the taste of pecans. So if you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe, and if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.